Gratcast. Didn't know if there'd ever be another one. Flying solo on this intentionally because uh, Gratcast always kind of started as an auto diary of my attempts to build Gratwick. And I think I'm going to kind of return to those roots. So it'll be monthly. It'll be kind of all things Gratwick, how the road got here, my thoughts, and there's not going to be guests. I've got show notes, got things to talk about. I got things I want to share. But if there's going to be guests, I want the guests to be you. Talk to me about what I'm doing, stress test it, come up with a better plan together. Been down this road a long time, and I truly believe I have a great plan to do something great for a lot of people that can help a lot of people achieve their own independence and control over their careers and content. I'll talk more about that later. You can find it all at gratwick.co, the company's website. So really, I want to start out kind of talking about, Gratcast has been on and off from 2011. That's when we first started it. And I've always enjoyed it, but at the same time, when you wear too many hats, some things just got to go. The bandwidth gets too thin. And having to do the content and over again and really just not finding it enjoyable and fun, Gratcast took breaks throughout the time. This past year, 2023, was an interesting year from building a startup and trying to get a foothold on Gratwick and really trying to, like a lot of people, come out of the pandemic and figure out what a foothold looks like. And we could have put ourselves in such a good position, especially being here in California, if we played the system with the COVID money. They're giving it out to everybody. California alone has about $60 billion worth of COVID money. We didn't have an official payroll at the time, but we were a legitimate corporation. We had an entity. We wanted to have a payroll. We wanted to pay ourselves. It was a lot more legitimate. Unfortunately, too legitimate because we wanted to do things the right way. Then the people that just created one on the fly and filed for the COVID money, and they got crazy money thrown at them. We could have set ourselves up, probably build a company and paid 10 times that back in taxes by now. If we were going to do things a little rough around the ethical edges. And the irony is, if I was going to do things a little rough around the ethical edges, I wouldn't be in this position today. As Cat Williams said, the shortcut. This isn't in my show notes, but it really feels relevant here to the start of this. Was offered the shortcut multiple times, directly, both times. One was by Grindstone Entertainment with The Perfect House came out. They tried to take it from us. They wanted it for free. Gave me the rigmarole about do it for the career, man. Do it for the career. Which would have meant selling out all my family and friends. No, go fly a kite, sell it out of the trunk of my car for the rest of my life before I go and do that. I mean, I was prepared to go through hell to do the right thing. Wasn't prepared for the multiple trips, but that led us down the road to the Facebook release, which failed thanks to being a little too far ahead of the technology. On October 1st, 2011, we were the first movie to premiere on Facebook, and the pay button didn't work. A lot of people, we went around the country. There's a whole documentary on YouTube about it. There'll probably be some little box that pops up to say, hey, watch the documentary. But we went around the country in an RV, fucking crazy. Like $300 in our pocket, showed the movie for free, gave people a chance to just, hey, this is what we're trying to do. We're going to release it on Facebook. You can share it. You can tell your friends about it. People watch the movie. We get the money back on PayPal. We can then reinvest that into ads, and we can do a gradual rollout of a movie online. 2011. People thought we were crazy. It's a crazy guy. What the hell's he trying to do? 3G world. We're living 5G dreams. Don't get me started on 5G. No, I don't think it's a disease factory. I just think it's bogus. Every time my phone's on 5G, it shits the bed. So I don't see the benefit. And I'm in one of the largest country or cities in the country. You'd think this would be a 5G hub. Anyway, so we did this. We went around the country, tried to change the world, tried to set a new distribution model, got covered on Variety magazine, all sorts of fun stuff. And didn't really gain much traction after that because the whole thing failed. Nobody watched it because the pay button didn't work. We had to argue with the developers at Facebook for Click Launch. They were a subsidiary or a app, one of the first apps on Facebook at the time. They argued with us for 2 weeks that it was human error, everybody else's fault, not theirs. No. After 2 weeks, somebody found out that the HTTP with the HTTPS was creating a bug in the button and wasn't allowing people to click on it because Facebook did an update. Go check this out. Fact checkers, October 1st, 2011, at exactly midnight, they switched over to the timeline that they've been using ever since. That caused a bug, failure for our whole grassroots distribution. I tell you all to tell you this. We wanted to build our own little sandbox. We wanted people to just be able to come to our Facebook page. Crazy. Even we thought that was independence. And we just wanted to be able to teach people that like we're going to release our own content. You can come watch it right here. You can buy it for $5, whatever it is. We use that money, create more content, and round and round it goes. It gets easier and easier to distribute movies because people know to find us all in one place easier and easier. Little did I know, like that was going to kick over a hornet's nest and piss people off, and nobody wanted it to succeed. That was already making money off of the other way. So nobody would talk to us, nobody would deal with us. Everybody wanted to fail. Now, before it got released, Grindstone wanted to take it, but they only wanted to take it because our movie was called The Perfect House, and they were releasing a movie at the same time called The Perfect Host. And they just wanted to berate us and give me the pay your dues line to give them the movie for free so they could just throw it on the shelf, never release it, and not have to worry about, two similar titles causing any kind of distraction because we were going to like steal their audience or something. Dodge that bullet by just simply saying no. Like, I didn't come here for your approval. I don't give a shit if you release my movie. Yes, I want to like get our family's money back and what was invested into and all of that. But like, I didn't come here to take the shortcut. I don't want your shortcut. And the long road, didn't expect it to be as long as it was, which is kind of where the story is getting longer and was intended to be because this is backstory. But ultimately, that failed, didn't work out. But the lesson learned going around the country, meeting people and all of that was that like the idea of the concept worked. Let's just cut them out of the equation and get right to the chase. Let's create good content for a good community and back and forth. And over the years, that's proven out to be true. And a lot of people have come behind us and done great things on all of these many third-party platforms. But at the end of the day, there's deplatforming, demonetizing, censorship, even unspoken censorship, all these different detached realities and mechanisms of control that still exist when you have to use these third-party platforms to reach an audience. Now we're on like 10 different third-party platforms right now, a couple different Facebook pages, a YouTube page, Instagram. Maybe we're not on Instagram because I forgot to push live on Instagram. But we're probably on Instagram right now. So we still got to use all these third-party platforms. So you're at the mercy of these third-party platforms. But long before blockchain even came along, I've held off making another movie because I wanted to figure out the first puzzle. How do you do it in a financially sound way where the machine can't rip you off? The people that want to offer shortcuts but really just want to steal your movie or have you work for them or have secret silent pressure on the direction of where it goes. Or the second time I was offered the shortcut by a junior agent at one of the top 3 agencies, recruited me for months, brought all sorts of bullshit, video games, bags of marijuana, edibles, shit we didn't care about, didn't need. Let's just get to business. Let's make some stuff, make it. And this story has witnesses from coast to coast, friends, people I loved, people that were my brothers and family, and because this was an open Thanksgiving, come on in. We hosted whoever didn't have somewhere to go for Thanksgiving because we didn't have somewhere to go, so we did it all together. And this young man, who's in his early 20s, showed up to that Thanksgiving a little bit inebriated and gave a whole long spiel. This is documented in podcasts throughout the years. I've told the story infinite times. I've written blogs about it. It's on my social. So I'm just going to cut to the chase. Just straight up said, oh, you got to turn the other cheek if we're going to work with you. All your dreams can get true. We can make this, we can make that, we can make everything you want to do. You just got to be able to turn the cheek if we're 2 days into production and the investor shows up and they want to fuck chicks and actresses or whatever. We're going to make that happen. We're going to manipulate it. You just either need to help us or look the other way. And I said, no fucking way. Not a chance. And he's like, I know. That's why I'm here. Because we can't work with you. We can't. We know that that's never going to go down on your watch. It's never going to happen. So that's all she wrote. And it was like, I think he was stunned because at that point in time, he wasn't selling me anymore. Like, I thought he thought they're coming that like I would just cave and be like, oh, well, if that's the price, so be it. And like the carrot would work. But I tried to flip it on him. I'm like, listen, you've been like coming sniffing around for months. I've got great stories. I got great work ethic. We've got great talent. We can recruit great people. You seem to know that you have got all the money connections and how the business works and it all figures out. Why don't we just make our own stuff? We don't need to play these games. We don't need to whore out our people. We don't need to look the other way. We don't need to do any of that stuff. Let's just work together. You be the business, I'll be the creative, and build our own studio. This is where the idea first really fermented of the vision for what I wanted with the business of how it could be executed. This man will come over every day on a whiteboard, just giving dissertations on how the business and dynamics of the entertainment industry works. And things are like, I don't know if I trust this guy, but the information long afterwards kind of clicks in your head once the crazy person's gone from telling you this stuff. So I said no and tried to explain to him, come with us. And for 4+ hours, Thanksgiving came to a halt. I tried to save this man's soul. I'm like, dude, we don't have to play these games. We don't have to do this. Just come on with us. He kept saying, you don't understand. He's like, I'm too far gone already. He's like, I'm beholden to these people. Like, I can't not do that. He's like, I don't have anything without that. And he's like, you don't understand. This is how they play the game. Now, I'm not telling the story to say, this is exactly how the entertainment industry works, blah, blah, blah. This is my firsthand personal experience. Cat Williams has his own firsthand personal experiences. That sounds absolutely insane and ridiculous. Any one of these stories could be insane and ridiculous. But when everybody's got their own different stories, and I'm going to get into authenticity versus on book, because I'm way off book here. This is nowhere in my notes where I've gone with this. I'm going to try and bring it back around to the point of where I was trying to go with Gratcast being around and not being around. It's never like, I guess it is obvious and blatantly done, but it's always within this mask of ambiguity of, oh, well, maybe that person was or wasn't real and legit within it. Maybe that's not how the industry works for everybody. Everybody's got their different story and all of that, but there's some sort of compromising element to, even if it's not like an institutional organized thing, it's a beholden thing. This person did this for you, and they're the only reason that you were basically picked out of anybody. I could grab anybody. And that's really where the problem comes in, and the power dynamic is that they can't pick anybody. If you don't say yes, the next person's going to say yes. So that just creates the pressure to have to say yes. And they don't know what to do with somebody that didn't come for the yes. I don't give a fuck. Like it was never, like, I never wanted to work for you and make shit for you. I don't give a shit about all that. You want to come, like, do stuff our way and what we want to do, and you like what we're doing, let's do it. If not, so be it. So this led us down our own road of trying to establish a corporation, a company, get our feet underneath us. And really, this is at the dawn of crowdfund equity campaigns, the very dawn, 2017, 18, 19. We were waiting for the legal laws to change to get all of our ducks in a row so we could be one of the first to, like, legitimately try and give an audience a real thing that they own, control, and kind of participate through the entire process of the content that they want to see and have created through that machine. um it wasn't very little man friendly, even though that's what the laws intended it to be when it first came out. And what ultimately happened was only the establishment people, people that already were wealthy, had money, and were already in the business, could just repackage themselves as the little guys and then go and run these campaigns, because you had to register in every state. You had to file tens of thousands of dollars to be able to run a crowdfund equity campaign in the very dawn of the early days of 17 and 18, and right pre-pandemic, the before times, to do it that way. So you had a company like Legion M that just raised money, money for years and years and years. They raised money, the first audience owned studio and all of that. And it's just, I'm sorry, there's all sorts of big names and Hollywood people and all of that, which great. I mean, if you're looking for the brand name little guy, I guess that's Legion M in a nutshell, just claiming to be the little guy. But it was never anti-establishment. I mean, it's fucking backed by Marvel, for Christ's sake. And they've raised hundreds of millions of dollars off of what I consider a bastardization of the idea I've been chasing since 2011, which is like, let's us do this the right way. And so the idea was proven out there. It works. It can be good. So we were able to attract some momentum. We filed all the paperwork to start raising money legitimately, the right way. This is now 2020, leading right into the pandemic stuff. We're going to try and raise and some capital to do awareness and brand and marketing campaigns so we could do a crowdfund equity launch. And I had a couple really good people I considered friends and truly loved, that were helping me to try to get the legal structure and ducks in a row to fundamentally raise money the proper way to do this, to be able to build it in a way that ultimately is turned over to the public and the audience and the community with me to run and build something incorruptible. And it took 2021, 2022, bled into 2023, and just so much effort and time was put into getting ready to raise capital. And for me, I really wanted and wanted that time to be used on, like, let's build awareness, let's build an audience, let's at least start building some momentum so we can be ready when the time comes to, like, go to the people and say, let's do this together. This is the plan, man. And yeah, these two people were great men that were hearts were in the right place for a very long time. And I wanted them to succeed more than I think we were able to succeed at that moment in time, because we were kind of both believing two different directions was the best direction to go in. They wanted to go in the traditional direction. They wanted to go to large VCs and cold pitches and things that could take years and years to raise millions and millions of dollars. And now there can be a lot of validation, there can be a lot of traction to that. But that's another one of those, if there's a lot more viability into it when you've got the network, the contacts, the relationships, all of these people. And none of the three of us had those contacts, networks, or relationships. And it didn't appear to me over an extended period of time that those relationships were going to be developed naturally or quickly, efficiently through this process. So I wanted to do straight to the audience. And that's where we just got to a point where we had to take a step back and reassess the entire thing. And Gratcast kind of again went into pause. I wanted to learn more. I spent all of the second half of 2023 following all sorts of different branding accounts, a lot of independent creators and people that are sharing content and advice, how to do things the right way, how to set and package and build a brand on top of it. And now, again, I've been trying spinning these wheels like I don't want to say the guy's name and look like a fool and sound wrong, but the guy that pushes the rock up the hill and always rolls back down. SIF. We're gonna just call him SIF for short. I know what it is. I don't want to mispronounce it and hit the STD. Never want to accidentally stumble into the STD. But yeah, I rolled the rock up the hill a thousand times, and each time learned so much as I got steamrolled by the rock. So this time I decided to learn before pushing, and man, brevity is not one of the things I've quite learned yet. But this is what's kind of led into a better preparation, a better understanding, a better vision to move directly towards the goal of not going to establishment capital. I mean, in minority positions and situations, sure, but we're not going to um, just fund this thing like a crazy traditional startup that takes money from institutional capital and is then beholden and guided to all of that. Because this is exactly exist to, be the counterbalance to all of that, to be something that can maintain its independence. So Gratcast is back. The website has been rebranded. The messaging's trying to improve and get better. I'm looking for feedback and advice on that. Uh, I can go on tangents and tell stories all day long, as you can see here. But if, as we do these shows and I give updates on Gratwick and everything, people join the show, ask questions. There's an army to build here. Lot of opportunities uh, to build a new castle and a new sandbox that's open to everybody and isn't about controlled access points, but decentralized access points. If you go to Gratwick site, you can see more about the technology in the app, and really what it is just a studio in a box that gives people total autonomy. Basically their own platform. They can make it a private social network if they want. They can do all of their community managements. They can have all of their financial processes and distribution automated. Smart contracts, total transparency, automatic royalty distributions where everybody can see the data and have access to the same information and have no third-party necessity in any way. No dependency on any other third-party app. Not even Gratwick as the creator of the app. We're talking open source. This is it. Use it. This is your freedom. What you build from that and where you go with that tool, may the powers be with you. And then also using that technology to run our own community that creates the brand of content that we've been stockpiled and all of that. Later on here, I'm going to talk about my first book that's coming out. It's not called The Frog and the Scorpion. That's really the theme of the evening. Because I haven't told how things kind of unfortunately ended in 2023, and what really kind of sent me down a journey of learning and discovery. But first book's coming out next month. It's going to be free to anyone that's on the Gratwick A list. All you have to do to be part of the Gratwick A list is join the newsletter, gratwick.co. Go to the website, check it out. Let us know what you think of how it is. We're not going to spam you with a bunch of shit. Once a month, usually the first week of month, let you know what's going on with Gratwick. Let you know what our efforts are and what content we've got coming out that month. And the goal is to build enough awareness, build that newsletter, the Gratwick A list big enough of people that want to see this app happen, want to see our vision for our brand of content and helping other creators have their own autonomy. Once that list is big enough, then we'll launch the crowdfund equity campaign. We'll get this damn thing built and we'll be off and running. So let me transition back to where the show and the story was supposed to be going without all the backstory. Actual current events, which will also answer past events as well. During this downtime, this discovery over the past, I'd probably say 6 to 7 months, I attempted stand-up comedy for the first time. And it's one of those things that was always coming. I always knew that I had stand-up comedy in me, thought like a stand-up comedian. I mean, I've got hours and hours and hours of material written. I know it's really good material. Obviously, it could always be refined more, but I've got a ton of material. If you don't believe me, check out the 1 hour special I put out called Chris Bone, the deplorable libtard, and tell me what you don't think is good about it. Because the only thing that's not good about it is the delivery, because it's stiff and doesn't feel authentic. Why? Because I'm terrible on book. And this is kind of like where I'm going with the whole Gratcast story today, and Frog and the Scorpion, and all of this stuff. Is I know I've got fire stand-up material that I want to put out there. I want to hit you guys with. I want to play with the audience. I don't have stage fright. I've been on what are we on? We're on a 26-minute rant here, just flat out stream of consciousness. Completely went off book. We're not even on the first friggin' thing that I want to talk about here tonight. So it's not stage fright. I can talk to myself. Talking to this guy right here. That's not the problem. The problem is I cannot not speak from the heart. This is my greatest gift and my biggest fatal flaw. If I'm saying something and you can tell that like I'm saying something, well, it's from the heart. I'm a writer. I would consider myself a director, a producer. I know you guys say, yeah, material. Fucking memorize your lines. It's a freaking job. I can sit there and point a camera at you, and I can recite your lines over and over and over again, and know where you need to set the syllables. All of that. You point that camera at me, gone, blank, terrible, hate it. Now you think, okay, well, just get up there, speak from the heart, and freewheel it. Now I can do that. Oh shit! We got a comment. We've been going so long here. ADHD. I don't even know if it's ADHD they're being on, because I can fucking laser in on it. Start hitting the coins, as we used to say way back in the Gratwick day, and I can zero in and focus on just about anything. But to do really good material, like great material, like George Carlin, Daniel Tosh, Dave Chappelle, that shit's not just up there riffing. And like, I can riff, I can tell you story, I can tell you the stories about when I got chased by a helicopter in Canada. I can recite these things like they're bits all day long. But that's not highbrow material. That's cocktail material. That's the shit when we're having beers and fucking having fun and joking around. I can tell them stories all damn day. That's podcast material. I'm talking about the really deep intellectual highbrow stuff. Like, you go back and you listen and to Chris Bone, the deplorable libtard. The material is friggin' A+. And that's just like, I spent a weekend and wrote that. I'm not being a cocky asshole here. I think it was one of the great minds of ancient Rome once said, arrogance is overstating one's self-worth. I overstate nothing. If it's shit, it's shit. Just because I shit it out doesn't mean it can't be shit. It can be shit all day long. That's why you got to be able to differentiate. Anyway, go back. The material's good. It's there. That's not the problem. The problem is, in order to give you the best show possible and the best energy possible, it's got to feel like it's coming from the heart. It's got to feel authentic. And I just cannot do scripted material in an authentic way. It kills my soul, which I say all of that to say I went and tried stand-up comedy because I wanted something I could control on my own, something that was just up to me. And I froze bad because I tripped over my line and couldn't get back on book and panicked. I wasn't stage fright. I had no problem being on the stage. I just fucked the line, and that's all she wrote. And that's what happens when I'm on book. I hate it. So I also hated that I have to drag friends out to do that. Like, oh, hey, everybody, I want to practice getting good at stand-up comedy and probably bomb and embarrass myself a bunch of times, and that's going to cost you guys $20 a pop every time I want to do that. Bullshit. Not doing that. So what I plan on doing is continuing to try and do the material like this and record it in segments and sections and try and be authentic and direct and straightforward with it and put out video hour specials once a quarter or throughout, because the material's too good to just be sitting on the shelf. It's got to be shared with you guys. So May 1st or March 1st is when I'm trying to get the next stand-up special done and completed and out there for. The other part of that struggle with the stand-up comedy is the authenticity versus strong messaging. And this is where I've really fucked the pooch on marketing properly, because deep down inside, I understand how marketing works and call to actions and appealing to people's sense of urgency and all of the inner workings and dynamics. And the more you understand about the marketing, the more it just feels manipulative. The whole process feels manipulative. It doesn't feel like an authentic connection. And to really understand all the things that Gratwick's doing, again, cheap plug, gratwick.co. There's blogs on it. I've been talking about it for years. It's so deep and robust that only an active interest in understanding more can really do it true justice to see the entire scope of the iceberg. And I hate that because it's so hard to communicate that sometimes I just don't try because I don't want to overwhelm people. And that's where the disconnect has happened with traction and building and all of these things, a lack of consistency, because I don't want to feel like I'm repeating myself. But at the same time, I understand there has to be a strong sense of messaging. And this is where, a deeper connection, communication back and forth helps break that fucking staleness of same shit, same day. Round and round we go. There's a better way, but it has to be marketed properly. And that's like, it's a pick my battles type of thing that I'm learning from some of these guys that do it really well and seem to maintain their true selves and authenticity in doing so. And probably appeal to their advice, hopefully, here as we continue this, and hopefully we'll get some of that. Anyway, the frog and the scorpion. The reason everything kind of came to a head in 2023 when we were trying to take off is like the real life version of the fable, the frog and the scorpion. And if you don't know what the frog and the scorpion is, real quick, there's a frog on the side of a bank. And I don't know the backstory, but a scorpion comes along and he needs a ride to the other side of the water because bad shit's going down on his side. Big surprise, probably pissed somebody off. He's a scorpion. That's what they do. But he's begging for help. I need to cross the river. I need to cross the river. And the frog's like, no, I'm not going to take you across the river. You're going to stab me and I'm going to die because you're a scorpion. No, says the scorpion. I'm not going to stab you. I just need a ride across. Why would I stab you if you're helping me across? And the frog's like, well, makes sense. But hey, if you do stab me while I'm trying to take you across, we're both going to drown and we're both going to die. And the scorpion's like, okay, not going to do it. So the frog, wanting to be an idealist, wanting to, despite being smart enough to know the situation and the danger and the threat, wanting to do the right thing, the frog lets the scorpion crawl on his back and takes him across the river. Halfway across the river, the scorpion stabs the frog. And as the frog's drowning, he's like, yo, what the fuck did you stab me for? And the scorpion's like, yo, sorry, bro, I'm a scorpion. What'd you think I was going to do? And down they both went. Okay? Now, how this story relates to Gratwick in 2023 is this. I found a wounded little bird in October of 2022. And it was at a time in my life where, we had a extended guest staying at our place. And I, wanted to get in-laws there through the holidays. They're taking up too much space, looking for in there. And I've been on Twitter a lot. I met somebody through DMs on Twitter. It was one of these Twitter anons, and started talking and connected on the phone and started having conversations. And this person turned out to be a black sheep of a famous billionaire family. This guy was in his early 60s, and once upon a time in his heyday was every bit of white privilege that Hollywood has to offer. His aunts and uncles were billionaires. They had a famous fat last name. His mom ran a movie studio. He got hired as an executive in his early 20s based off his name alone. He did all the shameless freaking women, drugs, manipulation, casting couch, sleazy, the whole 80s, 90s, 2000s, early 2000s Hollywood game. And had nothing saved, nothing held up as he started growing older and his health started fading. And then the pandemic hit in late 2022, about a month after I've been talking to him on Twitter. He said he returned to Hollywood from somewhere in the East Coast that he had been holed up throughout the pandemic in somebody else's place that he mysteriously had gotten kicked out of. And he was now in town, wanted to meet for drinks. So we met for drinks. Old school guy, but interesting stories, and seemed like a genuine person that wanted to help now in his age, give advice. And if I'm being completely honest with myself, I've given a lot of people older than me way too much undeserved, unearned respect and put them on a pedestal. You can call that like an absent father syndrome, shit like that. You want to get deep within it, and kind of comes full circle in this story. Whatever you want to call it, but I didn't treat them as equals. I treated them as above me or mentors or wanted them to be. And these were people that probably expected me to be or needed me to be equals to them. And I set the whole relationship up for failure in those ways. And this is probably the culmination of that entire cycle and process. But I, genuinely try to prove myself to anyone that gives me an opportunity to say, hey, this guy's got talent. He's a hard worker, blah, blah, blah. So I put it out there. Hey, if you ever need a story, you ever need a script, you ever need anything written, I'm your guy. Give me a chance. I'll put a first draft out there for free, whatever you need. Boom. This is how this relationship started. So a couple weeks after that, he said, hey, I've got this, I got this client wants to get a movie funded. They need a script for it. It's about this kind of crazy, how to explain it? They wanted like a 90s action movie, like an Arnold or a Sylvester Stallone type of action movie where the main character didn't really talk a lot. He was just action guy. And like, all right, it's not real highbrow stuff. Not a lot there, and kind of restricted corners. I'll take the challenge. So I started writing this right the week of Thanksgiving, 2022, and met with the subject who was going to be the actor. Got some information, got all this, writing the story. And a couple days after so the weekend before Thanksgiving, I told them I have a rough draft by the weekend after Thanksgiving, by the Saturday, Sunday of Black Friday. So one week turnaround. I'm not fucking around here, man. Give me the opportunity. So on Friday, I said I have the delivery on Sunday, I get a call from the subject matter, and he's like, hey, have you seen the Scorpion? We're just going to call him the Scorpion for the sake of the story. He's like, have you seen the Scorpion or heard from the Scorpion at all? And now I'm thinking they're coming at me early on got the script done, got it ready, blah, blah, blah. So like, no, I was supposed to talk to him on Sunday. Haven't heard from him all. Why? What's up? It's like, well, he called on Monday or Tuesday and said he was going to the hospital and was in an ambulance, and nobody's heard from him since. He's gone. Whoop, gone. Whoop, disappeared. So for the next 36 to 48 hours, I volunteer to help look for him. We're calling hospitals around Los Angeles. We're reaching out to people. We're calling the police departments, trying to get any lead on him. Can't find him. No luck. A couple days later, I get a phone call from the subject matter again, and this guy tells me, "Hey, up at the top of the valley in the hospital there is a John Doe who just came out of brain surgery and is our scorpion. Nobody can get up there to see him or not. He just got out of brain surgery yesterday, and that's why nobody knew where he was. Or couldn't get a hold of anybody or anything. But we found him. You're the closest one. Can you go visit him?" Sure, I'll go visit him. Now, mind you, to this point, I met this guy twice in person. Once was for drinks. Second was when he introduced me to the subject matter and said, "This is the guy you're going to write the script about." Next time I meet him, he's now John Doe with a huge freaking staples around his head, recovering from brain surgery in a hospital 5 minutes from my house, right over the holidays. I go to see him and talk to him. His fucking wiener's hanging out. He's a mess. His butt. He's just terrible, terrible shape. Doesn't know what's going on, and doesn't have anybody else. These other people are basically business associates that really wanted to know where he was because of the business and everything they have with him, but don't really give a shit about like the circle and life that he had cultivated. If you had no value to provide anymore, none of these people were going to give a shit about him. He was completely alone and on his own. And it was complete cut off and boxed out from his billionaire family. His mom had passed away. He had pissed all of his money away. Turns out he was basically homeless, which is why they thought he was a John Doe, and picked him up, brought him in, and found out that he was wandering around disoriented because he had a tumor in his head that had been growing for like 20 years. 20 years. And so just to speed up this story, for the next 6 months, I was the only person that nursed this man back to health. I would talk to him on the phone for hours a night. I would go to visit him in the hospital. Andrea's mom would bake him cookies and meals and dinners that we would bring there. I would go visit him just because there was no one else to do it. Because if I was completely alone and had nobody and nothing in this world, I would want somebody to take pity on me. So I tried to do the right thing for the sake of karma. And over the course of these months of nursing this man back to health, talking to him on all the time, I treated him like an advisor. He had a lot of business sense. He had a lot of business experience. He had a lot of business in the industry. But I make no mistake, I knew that he was a scorpion in the industry. I knew. But like, you'd think like brain surgery or something like that might cause people to reevaluate who they were in life. You think being alone in a moment like that might cause you to reevaluate who you are in life. You'd think somebody being there for you when you have nothing to offer. This guy couldn't do anything once I really got to know him. He had nothing. He was hoping on hope that I could do something for him with the script that would allow him to get some sort of money and some sort of deal going. And I couldn't just disappear. I couldn't ghost this person. They had nobody else. So I was there when he left the hospital and got put in a halfway house because he had no home, nobody else that could take him in, nowhere to go to. So he was in a homeless shelter for sick people. I brought his belongings there in his garbage bag and then helped commute that garbage bag to the next place that he got put in. Like, the lowest points of this person's life, I was there for no other reason than just human to human. I sought him out as advice just for something to keep his brain engaged and active and just to have a sounding board to talk about these things through. And so at this same time is when the two guys that were on the team and wanted to go in a completely different direction as far as raising institutional money versus going after, little by little building up to going after, a community. So I was conflicted through the whole thing and trying not to make any rash decisions. It had been 2 years now of preparing to get money ready. And I believed in these guys because I knew they were genuinely trying, but whether or not they could accomplish what they were talking about accomplishing or were just delaying it as long as possible because they were afraid of whether or not they could accomplish it was a real question that any professional CEO or person with all of this riding on their shoulders needs to start asking after 2 years of basically being in the same position. So I tried to get advice. I tried to get an elder perspective on these type of situations. And the entire time, this man was gaining information. He was gaining information about my business model, about my ideas, about the plan, about where he could divide and create wedges between our trio, our team, our three guys that like at the very least respected each other and were trying, even though we were trying in different ways. And once, little by little, as his health got better, his darkness kept revealing itself, showing itself. He'd get nasty with people. He'd get furious that he was stuck in this shitty little freaking, basically poor people freaking nursing home that he couldn't get out of until I got the money that he needed to get out of there. And he'd get more impatient and nasty and manipulative and try to do all this stuff because he saw that my idea and the money and what it could bring in, that was his ticket out of that place. And the more impatient he got, the more and more he got Machiavellian, created wedges, divides, and it created a situation where I decided, nope, it's not going like this. We're like, all he wanted to do was create the same old, and prey on creators. Like his entire mindset about creators became intolerable. And I really just slowly welcomed this dude into the circle just so he had something in his life. And he thought I did all of this because he had something he could like to give me. Like I thought like his billionaire family that left him in the gutter, but he had somewhere had money hiding throughout all of that. No, just a stupid frog that tried to do the right thing. And boy, did I get stung for it. And it was the hardest sting I've gotten in the entire 15 years out here. It knocked me back fucking hard. It completely shook my faith in humanity. It made me so dark and jaded. I gave so much humanity for no other reason, just because there was no one else who would. And for it to be used against me and just destroy and steal. And then the first thing he tried to do was try and go pass off the idea around and see if he could raise money on its own, just so he could rip somebody off for a quick score so he could get the hell out of this nursing home. And it took me months to step back and recover from that. And while I was recovering, I was watching all these guys on Twitter, guys, girls, like some of them are ambiguous. Not just because everybody's all over the place on the map these days, but because like I don't know who's behind the account, but they've got good information and good advice, and I'm appreciative of it. Somewhere along the line, I came across Notion, which has been freaking great. Project management, freaking CRMs, all sorts of crazy shit. So I personally rebuilt the website from the ground up. Again, gratwick.co. Please check it out. Please subscribe to the Gratwick A-list. And please consider just like, I don't know, telling somebody about it. I hate having to ask for this shit. If you don't feel genuinely inspired, like, hey, somebody's trying to do something, good, right, and honest here, other people should know about it. If you don't genuinely feel that way, I don't want to freaking sit here and beg, plead, and tell you about it to do that. So take it upon yourself to do with that as you will. But there's the newsletter once a month. We're not spamming you on shit, just updates. Here's what's going on. Here's the content coming out. Get my free book. If you're on the Gratwick newsletter, you're going to get the free book coming out next month. Here in a couple minutes, I'm gonna show you the book cover. Nobody's seen the book cover before. Brand new to the world. We started running ads. which to me was the thing I wanted to do all along for the past 2 years. Let's at least start running some ads. Let's collect some data. Let's see how sticky our message is. Let's see what this is so we know if we have something. If we've got data to show other people to say, hey, let's put a few more bucks in and run a few more ads. The more people that know about it, the stronger we're getting, the faster the A-list is going, the sooner this can all happen and come together. So we're running ads across all the platforms. Learn a lot about that. I'm probably going to write a blog about it, probably share about it in the next Gratcast. But it's been interesting setting up all these different accounts, trying to create freaking conversion events, opt-in monsters, lot of knowledge gained. Help needed everywhere. There's always going to be help needed anywhere. People that just want this to exist, and we understand the money and the rewards and the opportunities will all follow if we just build the arc. And then there's Sports Sushi. It's one of our shows that we're currently producing while we're doing all of this stuff. 10 episodes, 10 weeks, 10 guests, 10 topics, one topic each episode. The next 4 weeks, Thursday, we've got David Croyle. We're going to be talking activism in sports. That's going to be a really good one. Dave's an amazing personality, and that's an awesome topic for him to get into. The week after that is going to be Dan Gambino. We're going to be talking parents in sports. Dan coaches his son's basketball team. He's also a coach and runs a couple cool forward-thinking gyms down in Florida. So he's got a great perspective on what's going on there. And, I think he'll be honest about, the rough around the edges. Maybe it's a little too much of a go-get-'em parent in the start and how he's evolved his stance over the years. The week after that will be the culture of losing with our guest, Joe Tadaro, another great topic and guest. And the week after that is the business of sports with Drew Gear. He'll be doing a guest appearance from the Rockpile Report. So even if you're not like a sports fan, we're going to be talking about some sweet social elements and deeper than just the game itself and X's and O's and that kind of nonsense. Just real interesting stories and perspectives. So please, I encourage you to check out Sports Sushi Thursdays. Next thing is the book. Here's the big reveal coming up. I don't got drum rolls. I don't got sound effects. None of that stuff. What I do have is a book cover. Should probably take that banner off so people don't think it's the frog and the scorpion. There's going to be the free ebook version for Gratwick A-listers. Again, go to Gratwick.com or Gratwick.co. If you go to Gratwick.com, you're going to learn a little bit about the history of Gratwick, the actual neighborhood, not the company. Gratwick.co is the company. Hallowed Be Thy Name is my first novel. It'll be released on soft committing to February 1st. Self-publishing. Here's the release strategy, folks. The book is one of the first stories, the first public story in the Gratwick universe. I call it Gratwick universe, and the expanded universe of content, shows, movies, all the things, all the stories that I'm actually creating the technology and Gratwick to be able to spend the rest of my life building and telling and creating. That's the Gratwick universe. This is the first story in that, your first glimpse inside the world. I'm going to read you the synopsis here. Please keep in mind, I'm shit at being on book. This is the theme of the night. Don't hold me to the script. Don't hold that against my book either. Because again, when the story's crafted, I take great pride in the message. I just don't like delivering it on book verbatim. So, the title's called Hallowed Be Thy Name. In the 21st century, world leaders launched a thin layer of pollution into the outer atmosphere to diminish the sun's intensity. It had unintended consequences. The shield magnified the intensity of a massive solar flare, which flash melted the polar ice caps. Once again, a planet-wide flood devastated all civilizations. Two distinct groups emerged from that chaos a century later: an underground team of scientists seeking technological salvation, and a devout Vatican sect who interprets the disaster as God's judgment. Dr. Alicia Swetkopf a dedicated scientist with hidden faith, headed a covert department known as the Hostile Environment Assessment Team, HEAT, which addressed climate crises and simultaneously worked on developing technology for planetary evacuation. After a super earthquake speeds up the planet's deterioration, HEAT's two most respected unit leaders, lifelong friends Thomas Ratsky and Brett Bishop, face divergent choices. With the future of life teetering on the brink, humanity must bridge its divisions to escape impending doom or face a cataclysmic event. Or end. If had to fuck up one of the words. Anyway, Hollowed is basically me seeing way too many times in the news that our crazy world leaders want to launch a thin layer of pollution into the outer atmosphere and block out part of the sun to try to fix global warming. Now, whether you believe in global warming or not believe in global warming, this is an asinine plan. This is an asinine plan asking for problems. And I'm not giving you any spoilers here in the book, but this story takes place well into the future after that stupid plan goes horribly wrong. And Dennis Quaid recently did an interview with Tucker Carlson where he was talking about the threat and danger of a massive solar flare that wipes out the entire electrical grid and fries everything and sends us back to the Stone Age. And this is a legitimate concern that a lot of people say is inevitable. It's just a matter of when, not if. My whole story is based on the idea that our stupid leadership did launch a thin layer of pollution into the atmosphere. Look this up. They're really trying to propose this plan, by the way. And shortly after that, a massive solar flare then ionizes that pollution. And instead of blocking out a portion of the sun's energy, it becomes a magnifying glass that flash melts the polar caps. And this world that we're talking about now, where the book starts and takes place, is a few hundred years into the future after the oceans are now starting to evaporate and humanity discovers we've got less than 75 years of habitability on the planet. And it's a battle between all of the different factions that are left. The people that just want to panic and freak out and rob, pillage, rape, and sin their way into eternity and let humanity die out. The religious fanatics who believe this is God's will and hell on earth come to pass. And all that's left are the souls that haven't gone on because all of the good souls have already passed. All these people are left of the non-believers that are here for hell on earth. And that's why everything's getting hotter and this whole planet's going to turn into a ball of fire and become hell. Then there's the scientists who are all run underground 2 centuries ago because everybody hated them after they fucked up the entire world by putting this pollution in the atmosphere and screwing everything up, and all hell broke loose, riots, freaking people going to the bunkers, all sorts of shit show happened before we get to where we are now. And you've got these scientists who are trying to do the right thing once again, find a way off the planet, find a way to get to a new place, maybe start this whole damn cycle all over again. So they're trying to get the job done while the religious people are trying to make sure we all stay on this planet and go down in flames. And that's hallowed be thy name. As far as the distribution strategy goes, again, I'm not trying to be beholden to third-party platforms. If you follow the Gratwick ENT Twitter account, you might have seen, or the Instagram account that I shared a picture the other day. So there's this I'm not even gonna say the site's name, but they allow you to format the copy of your book for free, and then it's basically an aggregator that you can publish to all of the different Kindle books, Amazon books, all the different online bookstores. You can publish through their back-end portal, and you can even sell physical copies of the book that are printed to order. And so they show you on the back end, if you sell your book for $12.99, your expected royalty return per book sold is 18 cents. Seriously. Yeah. This is why, again, we're trying to build our own machine, our own ecosystem. Direct to you, direct to you, direct to you. Cheaper for you, better for the creators. So that's the plan. This is another perfect example of why we're building this kind of plan and moving forward with it. But the book's coming out. It's going to be free to all the Gratwick A-listers. Because again, I want you guys to read the story. I want you guys to enjoy the story. Everyone knows, oh, if it's free, it must suck. No, it's free because I'm confident in the story. I put some barcodes in there. If you love the story and you really want to pay for it, you can go ahead and Venmo me, Cash at me, whatever the fuck you want to do. If you just enjoy the story, you want to share it with somebody else, please give it to them for free. But tell them about Gratwick, so hopefully they'll sign up for the Gratwick newsletter. But if people want the book for free and are willing to sign up for the newsletter, all the better, because now you're going to find out what we're trying to do and what we're building and why we need you to be a part of it. Consider Hallowed Be Thy Name as a Cliff Notes version, an introduction into the Gratwick universe. This is where all of our stories are going to be told and shared, way back into the beginning of how we got down this whole road. All of it. I consider the Gratwick universe a place where extreme social accountability reigns supreme. And that's not like everybody wants that. This society's pulling itself apart, clamoring for extreme social accountability. And I don't know if that's ever going to happen. One extreme is always as bad as the other. Remember that. So this universe, this world I've created, any kind of genre, any kind of stories can be told within the universe. But it's where people get the extreme social accountability they lust after so much, and find out that's not always a good thing. So, Hallowed Be Thy Name, you can get it. We're going to make it available in all those bookstores, not through that back end site. I'm going to do it one-on-one to each one of them. So if you want to buy the book traditionally, you just like it better for your e-reader or your library of books, whatever it is, knock yourself out. Go grab it there. We will still appreciate the sale, even more if you put a review under that bad boy. But if you just want to read the cool story and see if it's worth the time, see if Gratwick's worth the time, come get it right from us for free. All right, so we're going to move on past the book now. Get back to our regular layout. Oh, lost me. I'm getting cotton mouth like crazy. Wasn't planning on going this long, so I'm going to start bringing it into wrap up here. This is the part I hate. Do the like and subscribe thing if you like what we're doing. If you want to know more about what we're doing, if you want to stay up on the content, if it means something to you that I'm trying to do this the right way. As you can see, I'm looking down at notes here. I canned the can part. But yeah, like we're never going to be able to do this until we start growing and we have an alliance of artists and audience and people who just want to see this exist so we can build it and free it to the world. End the reliance on third-party platforms. That's all. Appreciate you for tuning in. Appreciate you for watching. I know I meandered and ranted there a little bit at times. I actually am surprised that I'm right in my proposed time of 1 hour, a few minutes over. But Gratcast will be back next month. I'm aiming for the 15th, once a month. Sometimes 3 feet of blizzards come and football games get pushed to 1:30 on a Monday, and you don't know if the game's going to happen or not. You don't know if you're going to be bummed out or not. So the 15th doesn't work out. Assuming the 15th of next month isn't the Super Bowl, Gratcast will be back on the 15th of February, talking about Hallowed and where we're at next month. Thanks for tuning in.